What up, it's Chris from Laser Lemming and UpandLoaded.com. Today we're going to talk about Scalebound or Failbound. The game has been canceled. If you don't remember Scalebound, it was an action RPG being developed by Platinum Games and published by Microsoft. If you don't remember Platinum Games, they are your favorite action developer. They developed games like Bayonetta, Bayonetta 2, Wonderful 101. They were the crew, most of them, many of them, were the crew behind several famous Capcom games like Beautiful Joe, Devil May Cry, etc., etc., etc. So, these guys know their action. This game was going to be a little bit more RPG-ish, a little more third-person, do this, go that way, you know, commands, but there was a lot of action in this game. It just wasn't as fast as your typical Bayonetta or Devil May Cry, but people were excited. People were excited, granted. The audience that was going to be receiving this game, mostly, you know, Xbox owners, were not the typical audience that these kind of games skew towards. PlayStation, Nintendo, they seem to have more people that are interested in this kind of game, but Microsoft exclusive. And at the time this game was announced, Platinum was hot stuff. Now, lately, Platinum's been stretching themselves a little thin. If you don't remember, they released a Ninja Turtles game, which has already been pulled off of digital stores, presumably because Activision does not have the rights for the game anymore. But that game was not received that well, and that's their most recent game, I believe. They also developed Transformers Devastation, which was positively received. I played a little bit of it. It's okay. Some of you will attack me for that. It does a great job at bringing the 80s cartoon to life, but honestly, the 80s cartoon, the 80s Transformers cartoon, I'm going to say it, wasn't that great. Nostalgia glasses, folks. Anyway, let's talk about some Scalebound. So, Microsoft canceled this game. It was announced today, or as you're seeing this, yesterday. They announced it officially. They pulled Scalebound from their Xbox website. It's not part of their 2017 plans anymore. So, when Microsoft was pressured to give an answer, because Kotaku was saying, this game's about to get canceled. It's about to be officially canceled. And Microsoft came out with a statement. They just said, okay, you know what? Yes, Scalebound is canceled. After much deliberation, blah, 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 we have decided to stop funding, essentially, Scalebound. And that's what this all comes down to. So, we'll get to that. But they said in their statement that, yes, Scalebound is canceled, but don't forget to look at these awesome 2017 games coming to the Xbox system, like Halo Wars 2 and Crackdown 3 and Sea of Thieves and blah, 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 blah. So, they tried to distract you. It's a pitiful PR thing that companies just have to do, I guess. They can't act like, you know, this sucks because, you know, they're a big multi-billion-dollar company with shareholders, and when negative news is embraced by the multi-billion-dollar company, shares tend to go down in price. And this is ultimately what we all circle back to. It's about the money. The game was canceled because of money. Now, there's been no official word on this at all, at least as of the recording of this video. But why else would a game get canceled? Well, apart from it just being terrible. Well, even if the game was terrible, and like I said, you know, the Ninja Turtle game that came out recently, which was probably most definitely rushed, and Platinum is stretching themselves a little thin, it didn't get good reception. It was like, you know, okay at best, at least according to the people that played it. I am not one of those people, and I probably won't be because, like I said, the game's been pulled from stores. So, it all comes back to the money. If a game is bad, let's say it's bad. Let's say Scalebound was bad, and there are people that are saying, you know, I watched the gameplay footage, kind of sucked. It was alright, it was whatever, you know. I expected more from Platinum. Platinum's the best, you know. This game was an Unreal Engine 4 game. It's going to be Platinum's most beautiful game ever, at least to date. Not anymore. So I watched a lot of gameplay footage of this. I saw the initial announcement trailer. I even went back to Microsoft's E3 2014 press conference when they announced this live on stage. They got Hideki Kamiya, the director, on stage himself. He announced the game, showed the trailer, an exclusive, a Platinum X Microsoft exclusive, and it's canceled. So the dude went off of Wonderful 101. That was the Wii U exclusive, which also did not sell that great. Fun game, though. But that was his last game. And then he moves on to Scalebound. And what happens? You know, he spends probably about 3 years of his life on it, and Microsoft pulls the plug. If I was the director that just put 3 years of my life into a game that will never be played by the people I made it for, I'd be pretty upset. I'd be pretty disappointed. But I'm sure it all comes down to money. Microsoft doesn't cancel a game purely out of spite. Even if they had a problem with Hideki Kamiya or anybody else at Platinum, that's not why they cancel the game. They cancel the game because of money. So my best guesstimation here is that Platinum wanted more money. Or what they really probably wanted was more time. I don't know if Scalebound was a 2017 game. It probably was. It probably should have been. At least if Microsoft's announcing this thing at E3 2014. Granted, the initial announcement trailer was pure CGI. There was no gameplay to be found, but earlier this year at Gamescom, they showed gameplay footage. Bosses, worlds, there was footage. It was a game in progress. This game was moving along. There was a lot there. But was there enough? What else did Platinum need? I'm sure Platinum wanted to polish this thing up. You know, there was, in the gameplay footage I watched, it said pre-alpha footage. So they could have definitely polished it up. Some of the animations were a little bit janky on some of the monsters. You know, they could have always polished things. But what else did they need? Maybe they needed more time for more bosses, more levels, more depth to the gameplay. I don't know. And we probably won't know for a while. So in the meantime, you have BS speculation like this. But that's what it comes down to, folks. Money. And I'd like to know your thoughts. Were you excited for Scalebound? What did you think of the news? You know, people give Sony shit for The Last Guardian because that game took like almost 10 years to come out. But it eventually did come out. It was just shoestrung along. I'm sure Sony would have canceled The Last Guardian if it was not for that fan base that just strung themselves along from the initial trailer, the initial reveal trailer of that game in E3 2006 or 7, all the way up till release in 2016. So this game's not going to get it. At least it doesn't look like it. I was reading the wiki on this. Apparently Scalebound originally started out, in concept at least, as a Wii game with dinosaurs. And it eventually evolved into what you see today, a canceled game about dragons. So there's my unbiased thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section below. What do you think of Scalebound? What do you think of its cancellation? What do you think of Microsoft's policy? I was reading a NeoGAF thread about this, and somebody said, you know what? Microsoft announces games way too early. And I thought about it. I said, that's fair. That's fair. Sometimes I get mad at Nintendo for not announcing games early enough because they have a tendency to want to announce a game pretty much 6 months before launch at most. I remember Excitebots, the racing game for the Wii, was announced like 2 weeks before it released. Way too late, Nintendo. But, you know, at least they don't announce games typically 2 or 3 years before release, except for, you know, Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, Xenoblade Chronicles X, and a few others. But for the most part, Nintendo's pretty good at this. Sony, not so much. Microsoft, not so much. Crackdown 3 was announced probably around the same time as Scalebound. Actually, even before. I think Crackdown 3 was announced at the announcement of the Xbox One. The first reveal of the Xbox One, they talked about Crackdown 3. I think so. Anyway, I'm rambling. Let me know your thoughts. Comment section below. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you soon.